Tracy, I sent the link.
All right, I'm waiting on it to come through. There it is. All right, you good to go. Did you hear me? Okay.
Hey, Tracy, say something. Talking to Tracy.
Yes, I'm here.
Did you hear it on there? Or you just heard it?
Can you hear me?
I can. Hold on, Freddie.
Loud enough for y'all? Tracy talking, Tracy?
Yes, I'm talking now. What's up?
Talk some more, sing a song.
What do you say? What are you saying?
Are you good? Say testing for me.
Testing?
No, that's too loud. It's too loud.
But I can, that's on my computer. I can turn that down, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right, say something else.
Testing, testing.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Tabitha. I'm trying to join in on my computer, but I don't have a microphone on my computer, so I have to call in through my phone.
Understood. A few of our folks that were in the other room haven't crossed over. Jessica Lassiter was in the other room and she's not come over yet. Did y'all send her an invitation to move to the main room?
Yes, she's the only one that's left.
Alexa Little says she's in the waiting room still. She's logged in through her work computer and maybe that's why y'all don't know it's her.
Yeah, it said Clea, so I was waiting till your meeting started.
Jessica Lassiter just texted me and asked what's going on, that for whatever reason hers is not moving.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. I'm not sure. She should have a blue button at the bottom of her screen that she can hit to join us. Jessica's coming in now. You can start your meeting whenever you're ready.
we are still missing Dr. Van and his bunch.
Yeah, Patricia's gonna start the meeting. She's here. Dr. Van's coming in now.
You mean call it to order?
Yes.
All righty, the business meeting for the Clinical Lab Personnel Advisory Committee is called to order on September 21st, 2023 at 15:09. This meeting is live, is it already live streaming?
It's live streaming, yes, ma'am.
Okay, any public comments can be made by email to publiccomment@lsbme.la.gov. There'll be a 3-minute limit on those comments. The rules that have changed since the pandemic as far as our meeting specifically say now that the voting decision of each participating member of the public body on each matter is clearly identified during each vote during the meeting and recorded and included in the archive of the meeting. I don't know how to do that except that when we do take a vote, raise your hand until we make sure everybody has seen who voted how. If anyone has another recommendation on meeting that criteria, let me know.
I would say all in favor or I would say call the roll. I think Ms. Pat's our expert. She probably ought to, Ms. Patricia will give us the best answer to that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a voice vote, but you can do a voice vote by all in favor, all opposed, and then we can identify, who is opposed, if so.
Okay, well, that's how we've done it in the past. I was just afraid by the words clearly identified was going to get us in trouble. Okay, so now it's time for introductions. My name is Gay Brunson. I am the chair for the committee, and I'm employed at Reeves Memorial Medical Center, and I represent the administrative component. I don't know if everybody's squares are the same as mine, but we'll go to Dr. Bridges.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Richard Bridges. I'm the physician member of the CLPC, practice in Amede and in Metairie.
Yolanda.
My name is Nadlin Rito. I'm the MLT Program Director at South Louisiana Community College in Lafayette, representative for Louisiana Community Colleges.
Yolanda Bennett, MLS from Alexandria, Louisiana. Can I call like the number to get in? Because I'm at the hospital and my mom's about to get discharged, so I'm gonna call on my phone.
You can call with your phone. The only thing is when we go into executive session, your phone won't go into executive session, but you absolutely can call.
Okay, once I get like still again, I'll connect back
Okay.
to the Zoom meeting.
Next.
Hello, I'm Jessica Lassiter. I'm a representative for the education position at a 4-year college.
Hi, I'm Michelle Warner. I'm employed by Pathology Resource Network. I am in the manager administration position.
Hi, I'm Larry Broussard. Larry Broussard, retired from LSU HSC and laboratory director and representing specialist category.
This is Tabitha Whip. I am the MLT person, and I work at Opelousas General Hospital in Opelousas, Louisiana.
Hi, my name is Valinda Carmen Walker, and I am a lab director at Ochsner Health in the River Region.
I'm Patsy Jarrow with the board. And Dave Victor is here to answer questions if anybody has any about applications.
We can barely hear you.
Dave Victor is here, who is an analyst with the board, and if anybody has any questions, when we get into the meetings, please stay and answer those questions. If we could do that first, we could get back to work.
Did you say Dave McNair?
Yeah.
Patsy, is Dave physically with you?
He is.
Perfect, thank you.
Next.
Alexa Little, CLIA Program Manager, and I'm CLIA Liaison.
Next.
Beverly Ogden, I'm representing Louisiana Pathology Society.
Who's next? Melissa?
Hi, this is Melissa Hamilton. I'm the cytology supervisor at Ochsner Health, and I'm at the dentist, so I will not be speaking until I get out of here anymore. Thank you.
All the members have been identified.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
we have somebody who came in as 318-613 allocation. And I need you, that's Mr.
That's-
Lalonde. Thank you
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
Yolanda.
Thank you. We got her identified.
All righty. Dr. Van, are there any public comments now? You're muted. Maybe you just sign language it.
I'm sorry. I got a few technical difficulties. I apologize. There are no public comments at this time, ma'am.
All righty. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, the first item of new business is Ms. Little. It's the CLIA verification of licensure application. Oh, wait a minute. Back up. You said, Patsy, what did you say about any questions for Mr. McNair? Can't hear you. Can't hear a word.
She's connecting to audio right now.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dave Victor is here and he'll answer any questions anybody has about the applications.
Okay.
At the application process, Dr. Van's gonna go through. Can we do that first?
I'm fine with that if everybody else is.
Is that good, Dr. Van?
That's fine with me. I'm going to need to be able to share a screen.
Okay.
And I'll show you my PowerPoint in just a second as soon as it comes up.
Okay.
All right, so everyone, we're going to go to the flow chart for processing applications first.
So now I need to find it.
Well, I don't know what to tell them. Is it on the meeting link? Did you get the documents mailed to this computer?
I have the documents. Yes, I have.
I got them on the other one.
So I can't share this screen.
Email?
Look at the bottom, you should be able to.
I understand, but it's not showing up on my list of things to show. Hold on a minute. Let's see, I need to close some things. Maybe that'll help. Close window.
You sent it to P. Johnny and she forwarded to P. Johnny.
Close window.
The stuff that Olivia sent to everybody. She has to send it to you.
Angela and Patsy, y'all are, we can hear everything you're saying.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we're
I'm
not
not
saying
saying
anything
anything
private.
bad. I'm trying to get access
document.
to the documents.
So y'all were just, didn't know.
Okay, so I got it shared now. Can everybody see what we're dealing with here? Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
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 All right, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for everybody. Okay. All right, well, let's see. So basically, all of our licenses go through a similar process. First, the applicant creates an account in LA Med in our online system. That is where all of the basic personal information is submitted and an application fee is submitted. If you do not finalize the payment, we do not recognize the application. As a state agency, I can't do it if I can't get paid, so we're not going to do it. I'm sorry. Then, as soon as the fee is paid, the application is sent to our new application queue. And at that point, the next thing that happens is a deficiency letter is sent out to the email address that they established in their online system, detailing what materials are needed for the application, are still needed. And then the app moves to the deficiency queue, and they check that on a regular basis as things are submitted. Documents are sent, uploaded as applicant proceeds, and the application is ultimately completed. Then the application moves to the director queue for approval. Now, we have no control over anything until all of that information is received. We have an internal number that says, once this goes to the director queue for approval, if it is satisfactory, we have 10 working days to generate that license or permit. If the director determines it's not adequate, it is then returned back to the analyst to finish what needs to be done, and we will not start that 10-day clock. And then the license is granted if it's approved within the 10 working days. Now, what causes delay? Well, obviously, the very first thing is we see all the time, people don't pay. Well, I'm sorry, I can't do this for free. The application will not proceed to the new app queue until the payment is made. The next thing that slows us down is the applicant does not submit the required materials in a timely manner. And then there is an occasional delay from the director, meaning our licensing director, but she is very good about getting it done in 10 working days. Now, there's some things that lengthen the process that we have no control over. On the oath and affirmation or affirmation page, they answer yes to have you ever been arrested? All right, and that question is then sent with the answer. First, it's compared to the criminal background check. So let's say they answer yes, the criminal background says yes, it happened. It goes to investigations. Investigations then goes through the process of determining should the license be granted based upon what was in the criminal background check and the yes answer. They will make one of two recommendations. They will make a recommendation to go ahead and license, or they may have a recommendation to license with a probationary period. And the last and final thing is they would enter into a intent to deny, which gives certain legal rights to that person. And again, we don't have any control over how that happens. Now, if the negative findings were not answered to in the oath or affirmation page, even though it clearly states in red that even if you think it's been expunged, you need to tell us about it. And people think, oh, they don't have to tell us about it. But I need to tell you that the FBI never forgets anything. So what happens is when the criminal background check comes back from the FBI, it shows an arrest that the applicant answered no on because they thought it was expunged. And then we have to rectify that. And that normally consists of them changing the application, but at that point, it's now a reapplication and they have to pay a second fee. And of course, we have to have proof of citizenship or ability to work in the United States. If this is not appropriately substantiated, we cannot get that person a license, okay? And then the other thing we sometimes run into is lack of agreement with names or dates. They may tell us their name is Sally Smith Jones, and then they got married and didn't tell us that they changed from Sally Smith Jones to Sally Jones Walker, okay? And so consequently, we have them as Sally Jones Walker, and we can't rectify that. What might be on the application information. And so it has to be fixed and we have to clarify that. And the way we do clarify name changes is send us a copy of your marriage license, or if you've changed it in the court, send us a copy of the court order. So that has to be done for everybody to make sure we have the right person, okay? Now, go back. Some specific issues we talked about, and then that's really for any license. Let's talk about generalist first, okay? So the first thing they do is they open the profile. They have to give us the information about all of the time from graduation till the application. So if they went in the military for 2 years and didn't do anything, we need to know about it. We just can't have gaps in time. We want to know if they have other healthcare licenses. They have to tell us and we have to be able to verify it. If they've been working, we want to know what their practice history is, if it's applicable. We have to do an NPDB history to make sure that there's been no reports about them to the NPDB. The application fee, of course, is $65 at this time. There's a non-disclosure fee if there's only, and that's what I've talked about, if there's been a non-disclosed history. So they have to basically repay twice. They pay second time if there was a discrepancy that has to be reconciled between the criminal background check and their oath and affirmation page. And then we verify the education by a transcript. And of course, we need a photograph. I'm trying to do away with the photograph at this time, but that's after I get a few other things done. But that's what we do with that. Then, of course, we have the notarized forms, the oath and affirmation and non-disclosure of history, third-party authorizations, proof of citizenship, statement of legal name, marriage certificate, change name, criminal background check, and of course, their school reports from whatever testing agency that they received their credential. So all of that has to be done. Now, again, problems. Oath and affirmation, yes, and it's an investigation. Criminal background check or NPDB problem, we have to rectify the two. Proof of citizenship, no citizenship papers, I can't give you a license, okay? Lack of agreement with legal name or dates, we have to resolve that. And if we get a delay in the transcript, I can't do much about that. Problem with verification of the education form. So sometimes we take a dean's letter and that'll do it, but if we don't have either one, we're going to be in trouble. And we're trying to bring some automation to that to make it easier for our people, but that's not yet been done, and I'm trying very hard to get it done. Now, clinical laboratory assistance, very similar. Profile, account for time, other licenses that they may have held, practice history, NPDB reports, application fee, non-disclosure fee if they have to do it because there was discrepancy between the oath and affirmation and criminal background check or NPDB history. The photo page, the high school transcript, the GED, we have to verify that, okay? Notarized forms, very similar, okay? So all of these things have to be done. And the criminal background check has historically been the biggest problem. Now, we have recently moved, the state has moved to a much better system. I can tell you that now there are 18 locations throughout the state of Louisiana where an applicant can go get their fingerprints done, verify the quality. They get sent electronically through the state police to the FBI, and generally the FBI computer can read them and expedite things. We are now generally getting things back at about a 98% success rate, about a 2% denial rate, and generally in 5 to 7 days. Again, it's a little more costly, but that's the state police has changed that system and we have no control over it. But it is much more efficient, okay? So then, again, we talked about some changes, the criminal background check process. Don't send the checks to us. We're not going to take the money. When you go to these locations that'll be sent, when you make your application, you'll be sent a letter, instructions, and a sheet that you take to the new places that are doing it in the 18 locations around the state. It has a code, usually a 5-letter code on that form. When you sign it, give it to them along with your payment. The reports then come back to us based on that 5-letter code. If you don't bring that page in and follow the instructions, you won't be able to get your fingerprints done anyway. You'll have to come back. But that is the 5-letter code that takes that criminal background check and moves it from the FBI to our system, and so our analysts can see it. We're in the process of trying to bring Parchment, a system to be reduced transcript and other document verification time. It's still in process. And then we used to require them to take the orientation course for all our licenses before we grant the license. In an effort to expedite things for everybody, we now say that that is something you do before your first renewal. If you don't take it by your first renewal, you will not be able to renew. So that's where we are, how we do those 2 classes of licenses. And basically, everybody is the same. We do, there's just happens to be fewer, for example, data points that have to be entered for, say, a lab technician than might have to be for a doctor, a PA, or something like that. But anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions about this system. And if Dave wants to make a comment, I'm happy to hear his comments.
I have a question, Dr. Van.
Yes, ma'am.
On accounting for your time, is that from when up until you applied? Or is that?
What we want to know is, what have you done since you finished school and got you, and all that went on? Because, for example, if we don't know, for example, you might have gone in the military for 2 years and you don't tell us, there's a 2-year gap that we have left unaccounted.
I understand. Can I finish? Sure. I don't mean to be rude, but can I just finish the question? And then I don't think you'll have to explain all of that. I'm just asking, so when they are accounting for time, it's up until their application process, from the time they got out of high school till the application process?
Yes.
Or until they think the application will be approved?
No, till the application process.
Okay. And until they submit their application, they need to have put in everything they've done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Van, this is Gay. I have a question about the background. I know that the background process is getting faster, but what is the time limit for a background check to be done? How recent does the background check have to be before the application?
The application, usually we say within a year, but the problem is, if they, let's say they did it because they took a job volunteering in the child's cafeteria right before they graduated, before they went to work, they would have had to have done it. The problem is, they didn't say send it to us. It was sent to the school board where it was done. So it may have to be redone, because we cannot share under federal law those documents. We actually separate out completely that report from the licensing record so that nobody can access it, and it's physically air gapped from our system. There's no electronic connection to that repository. Basically, all our licensing system will have is pass background check or did not pass background check. Once it passes background check, that data is taken out of the licensing system, stored in a storage device at our agency that cannot be connected to and is not connected to any other portion of the network or the office. And that is in compliance with the Fed's regulations. It really isn't ours. It's the federal regulations that we have to do it that way.
Dr. Van.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Gay.
Well, I just was asking, I know, I mean, for years and years and years and years, the problem has been with people, the lawyer saying it's expunged, you don't have to admit it. And even though our question says, have you, what would it hurt? Or would it be something that we could do is add one specific question? Have you ever had a charge expunged? Yes or no?
Well, it says, have you ever, we are interested in arrests, okay? It
Gotcha.
says arrests or convictions, okay? And quite frankly, underneath it says,
I know.
report all expunged issues. I mean, it's in red, it's highlighted. If you want to submit that we change the question, I'm perfectly willing to change the question. I don't know how simple we can make it. But if you think that people can't understand that, I'm happy to put a separate set of questions in it and add it in. It's not that we're trying to make it hard. We've tried to make it as simple as anybody could say. Have you ever been arrested or convicted? Please report any expunged incidents. We will find, I don't know what to say.
And that question is on every LSBME application, right?
It is I am told by my IT director, it is. And remember that nothing, everything
And
should be.
it is screwing up every type of license, not just us.
Yes, ma'am, every type of license, not just you.
That's why I'm thinking maybe we could help everybody if we could. I don't know how to fix it, but if we could fix that, that might speed things up some way.
Well, I tell you what I'd like you to do is, Ms. Kay, I'm going to send you a code and I want you to go through the application questions. Okay, and let you go through that process. I'll have some of our IT people. Tracy's on the call. She'll make arrangements to get you an opportunity to put that application in process. Even though it'll be a fake system, it won't get you the complete license or anything like that. But you can see how the questions are worded. And if you want to make a suggestion in writing, we'll take it up under advisement and we'll do what we can. But again, I think it's as in plain a language as it can be. And if you think these so-called highly educated people can't understand that, we'll make it even simpler for them.
So can I say something, Ms. Gay?
Sure.
I don't think the question is worded. I think the question is plain as day. The problem is that what I get told most of the time from students that, and not, if it's in the application part in LA Med dashboard where it's asking it, they also fill out their oath of affirmation that's notarized. So they have to do it twice if it's in the application. So they're answering false information twice if it's in the application too. But most of the time, what students tell me or what they tell me is I paid a lawyer to expunge my charges and they were expunged. And they don't believe me or anyone else that tells them that it's still on their record. So they've been told they paid thousands of dollars to get it expunged and they don't care to believe us. So they still put no, and then it's lengthened their application process. But I clearly tell them, and I think it's written very clear. It says if you have ever been convicted or arrested, and I think it's as clear as day as it could be. They are not putting what we instruct them to put for hours.
Okay. All right. Well,
now my problem with the application process has been the background check and the fingerprint. So I hope this new system is going to expedite that, because that's what I have had the problem with our students with is the background check. And the only suggestion I have, I just happened to look at the website yesterday and noticed that is a new system. But I feel like all programs, especially our accredited programs in the state, should have an email sent to them saying that this process has changed, because I wasn't aware of it unless I've missed the email. I'm sorry, but I think we need to notify program directors that that's changed.
If you would send us a list of all the program directors for all of the programs in the state,
it's on NACLS. They're listed on NACLS, so I don't mind pulling it up.
I don't know what NACLS is. We don't have it, okay? My licensing team does not have a list. If y'all want to send it to us, we're happy to let you do it. We'll send emails. But we don't have a list of all of those program directors. And
Paula,
license,
there's your hand raised.
they don't give us information.
From my understanding of it, it'll be really good because it sounds like because it's electronic, they will know instantly if it's a good fingerprint or a bad fingerprint.
Exactly.
Yes. And Dr. Van, you did say that once it has been submitted to Louisiana State Police, you're thinking around 5 to 7 days?
That's so far been the response.
Okay, because in the past, we have had to start this whole process much sooner because of that. So that's going to change a lot of what we're telling our students to do, to try to
again,
get them ready to work in May.
All right, remember I said there's still about a 2% rejection rate, so it's much lower. Yeah, I would still tell people to get it done. The sooner they get it done, the better, because if it's already here, it's gonna make things move so much easier.
Hey,
If the fingerprints are rejected, does the student have to pay the $60 again?
That's between them and the contractor. We have nothing to do with that.
I think I don't know. My thinking is if your finger's smeared, they're gonna say, here, do it again. It's gonna be immediate, that they're not gonna let them walk off until it's a good print.
Yeah, and that was not the past history, unless they went to the state police office. Now, you said it's a little more costly. It's a little cheaper because it was like $46.25 for the background check, and our students had to pay $15 to $20 to get their fingerprints done. So it's about $1 cheaper. So they can't complain about that. But
Well, again, like I said, we were told it's gonna be about $85 and we have no control over it, quite frankly.
I looked it up today and it said $60. So hopefully that's what it is.
Well, I hope it is too, because like I said, we are not, if anybody sends us a check, for fingerprints, we're sending it back, okay? Because we're not in the business of taking money for fingerprints anymore.
Dr. Van, the licensing folks told me that there had been 597 generalist applications. Nope, that's phlebotomy. 248 generalist applications this year, which I think is really pretty sad because we probably have more job openings than that. Of the ones that are still pending, is there anything that just stands out particular, like for the 74 that are not complete yet?
What we generally see is transcripts, lack of time, discrepancies that end up in investigations. But to say anything outstanding, no.
Hey,
There are no outstanding ones. They're all, everything that's all complete applications up until yesterday have been approved.
okay, great. Jessica, I suggest you make your graduating students watch this YouTube video of Dr. Van telling them expunged doesn't mean anything to a license.
Sure. I'd love
Maybe-
to tell them.
Maybe they would believe it then.
I don't know. I don't think they believe us half the time anyway. So
Well, does anyone have any more questions regarding licensure and processes?
It's come to my attention that Ms. Pigford has her hands raised, Ms. Gale.
Okay.
Hi, this is Paula Pigford, investigator at LSBME. I can clarify that expungement of the past record. If they go to apply for a job, their employer may not be able to see that arrest record for the background check that they do. But since we're a licensing agency, we can see more. So we'll see those past expunged records, but their employer may not. I don't know if that helps.
oh, I'll tell them that too. I'll tell them. Now, I had one more question about the licensure. Just say we have the perfect applicant. Now they follow all the steps. They have everything they need to complete it and have zero deficiencies. Is there a process where that applicant is just that checkbox is done and no one else has to look at that? You know, because we do have some that do not have yes on their oath of affirmation. They pay their licensure fee, they have their notarized birth certificate, they have everything. And it's still taking time to get these released from the LSBME.
Well, again, our commitment to everybody is, once the licensing analyst has approved it and submits it to Ms. Aloma, our director, or in the case of clinical lab Patsy, and Patsy looks at it and says, oh, well, there's a problem here because of such and such. That 10 days doesn't start, it doesn't start yet. Those two people make the final decisions based upon their first review of adequacy of the licensing analyst's work. And if Patsy says we missed something, or Ms. Aloma says we missed something, we go back, the house is told to go back and find it. But once everything is complete to the satisfaction of Patsy and or Ms. Aloma, we are issuing the license within 10 working days.
Patsy, you have to look at all of them, or do you just look at ones that have problems?
I look at all of them.
So that's what I'm asking. Is there a way where we can have a checklist that our analysts at LSBME follows a checklist? Because there's a checklist out there, and if they don't have any background history, nothing, and they've done everything, that those get released sooner.
Again, I will tell you, it is when the data is documented as complete by the analyst, and that's when it gets in the queue for final approval. So it's not when they do it, it's when everything is to the satisfaction of the analyst. Because, again, let me try and explain to you. They may think they sent everything, but perhaps the school didn't send the dean's letter. Okay. Perhaps there's a problem in the criminal background check. Perhaps there was a yes answer that they told us about, and it's an investigation. So just because they've sent everything does not mean it's cleared to be licensed.
I understand that, but I have students that let me look at their LA Med dashboard and they don't have any deficiencies. Everything's done and it's not getting verified within 10 days.
If you will send me those names, I will investigate the problem. Okay, and will I tell you we've had to let analysts go because they don't put everything down in the area of the deficiency page? Yes, we have. But I cannot comment on what you asked me without reviewing the specific cases and you need to do that offline. Send me the names and I will look into everything for you.
I have a question. As in most workplaces, there's usually an assistant to who does the final check that could fill in cases of, extreme circumstances where like if Patsy had to be out. Is there anybody that can we nominate that, say, the head of our CLPC committee could back Patsy up in case you were out for any time? If it wasn't Patsy, anybody that could back up the person who makes that final decision.
All Ms. Aloma has to do is tell me they need help and we'll get them the help. Sometimes I help Ms. Aloma. Again, some of these are complicated by the various types of credential and the various types of schooling required to get that credential.
I understand that. It's just that
again,
in most places there's a
somebody who
backup.
knows that very well. And again, at this point in time, I think that the system works, okay? I'm happy to take what you're asking under advisement, but at the point when somebody now steps out of their role of advisory committee and starts working for me at this agency, there's going to have to be a level of confidentiality.
It can't, look, you can short circuit this. It can't be somebody on the advisory committee. It can be somebody trusted in the licensure division or somewhere else within the agency who has the authority to determine that there is zero problem of any kind. Everything is 100% complete. And the only thing that's remaining is Patsy's review. And they could approve it or something, but it can't be someone on the advisory committee.
Well, I think that was just a suggestion. So that's the point is do we have somebody in that place in case something emergency happens? So the licensing process can continue. Because I mean, Dr. Van, you say that it's not an issue. We've had issues this last May. Several people had issues, and the public is viewing licensure as a burden sometimes. So we need to really try to work out this process.
Well, let me say this to you. Miss Aloma and I reviewed over 200 to help her get things done. But some of them were even I couldn't talk to address it with Miss Aloma, and that's why we had to wait for Patsy. We processed a lot when she was gone. We had some difficulties. We have a set of rules that's unique to each type of licensing certification, and we have to go through those very carefully. And I'm sorry if it takes longer than you think it should. Maybe we can make some recommendations to simplify it. But again, you know, we've talked about those. We've put some stuff in, and we have to deal with it. But again, we cannot. I mean, Patsy works hard, I work hard, and Ms. Aloma works hard. I don't think we can bring anybody else in from the outside just at that short period of time. But I'll be happy to look into it. But I think Ms. Wilton has already told us it's going to be a problem if it's anybody on the advisory committee.
Do we have any other questions regarding the licensure process?
Yes, I've got a question. Dr. Van, is the list that you mentioned of sites that the state police has, is it possible to have a link to where an applicant could look up where the nearest site is?
The packet that they are sent by email when they complete the application has the list of all of the sites. It is sent to them to their email address. Now, that's another problem. They may start the process and say, my email address is so-and-so at lsu.edu. And they don't pay. And they wait a couple of weeks, they graduate, they pay, but now the lsu.edu is no longer a valid email address. And so we sending it to the wrong place because they don't update their email address. But nonetheless, everybody gets that email telling them where they can go, what the cost is currently, and that special page with our code number on it so that they can take it to the facility, get their fingerprints done, and we will get the report.
Thank you.
Mr. Larry, I completed the steps today just because I was curious about what the students would look at, and I wanted a list of locations, and it gives you a list of locations before you even pay. So I didn't have to pay anything, and I found all the list of locations.
Okay, I had just looked on the website and saw the notice that it was changing. Didn't realize that it was sent to them as part of the package. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding the licensure process?
We have the premier analyst here if you have a question.
Dave is our number 2 person and top analyst in that division. And he's a wealth of knowledge, trust me.
Does he have any recommendations for us in educating the folks that we're trying to get to become mid-techs?
I'm sorry, Gay, say again, please.
I was just asking if you had any recommendations that we as the advisory committee, to get the word out to the students and all, apart from telling the truth on the affirmation.
Well, I also think that it's as clear as it can be. And if you go into too much detail, it makes it more difficult, it seems to me, to understand.
I think they need to watch this meeting.
Yeah, but the other thing I'd like to add, though, is if students decide to begin their background check early and they have not applied yet, they should at least create their LSBME dashboard so that we have a place to record that information. In other words, they need to at least get signed up, and we will know that they exist, because there could come a point where if we receive results that we don't have an application for, we may have to return those. So it's important that we know who these people are when the results come in. If they want to start early, that's fine, but they should at least create a dashboard, if not apply.
Well, and quite frankly, as we said earlier, there's a 5-digit key code on the form that we send them when they complete the application. And if that is not brought to the place of the fingerprinting location, we will never get the fingerprints, because it's all based around that 5-letter code.
Dr. Van, do you have any public comment regarding this?
Hang on, I'll check right now. No, ma'am, none at this time.
Hey, Dave or Patsy, either one, what is the best streamlined means of communication? So when applicants either have questions or they're trying to ask about their packet specifically, what's the best way for them to contact? That's what I get asked the most, and I don't think people realize we're separate entities sometimes.
I can speak for me, but I think that I personally prefer phone calls. And that way we can clear up any issues directly, rather than going back and forth with through emails. But any way that's convenient for them is fine. I mean, I'd much rather clear up an issue beforehand, rather than have them submit things that is not necessary or maybe not quite correct. But any email, phone calls, and either one is fine.
Let me ask a question to you.
Mhm.
Do the applicants know who their analyst is?
They'll know if they look at the contact us page of our website.
Okay, that's what,
And
they
it's-
need to know who to call.
Yeah, it's clear who has their part of the alphabet. And all
also-
contact information is there.
And also, Dave, I would add that anybody who gets an email, the email comes from the computer, which says LASBME. But at the bottom, it has the name of the analyst and the email address of the analyst directly, along with usually the phone number of the analyst.
And the phone number, correct. Yeah, the information is there. It's on the bottom. But Alexa, to answer your question, either email or phone call is fine.
They call the wrong one, you'll just refer them to
Yeah,
the right one.
and if they do email the licensing email address, those are forwarded to us every day. It's they're distributed every day, so whichever one is fine.
Dr. Van, the test you said that the first year applicants, first year techs have to take, that's on CE Broker, correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is on CE Broker, and it will be a hard stop to their first renewal if it is not done.
Dr. Van or Mr. Vickery, what is the expected turnaround time if someone emails? How quick to get a response? Because that was another complaint that we didn't have responses.
To my knowledge, we should respond to all emails within 48 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I know licensure has changed a lot since I applied. I think my number is 76. Well, if we don't have any more comments or questions, Dr. Van, thank you so much for the PowerPoint.
Thanks to you. I really do. Thank you, Ms. Gay, for the opportunity to explain it.
All righty.
And no public comments at this time, Ms. Gay.
Okay, thank you. this item is not on our agenda, but we need to approve our minutes from our meeting in January. Those were emailed to everyone this afternoon. Did everyone get a chance to look at them? It was the January 12th of 2023.
Can't look at any of this time.
I did. There's a correction to my last name in second section. Should be E instead of A.
Did y'all get that?
Correct. Who was that? So I did not type these minutes up, Madeline did, so I guess I can make the corrections, because I wasn't at that meeting. Well, I'm sorry, what were the corrections?
My last name further into the document is misspelled.
Okay. Michelle.
Warner, it should be Werner.
Okay.
Any other corrections or comments? Would anyone like to move to approve the minutes with said corrections?
I move.
I'll
that-
approve them. It's Tabitha.
Tabitha approve. Do I get a second?
I second.
That was Angela. All those in favor of approving our minutes, say aye.
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 All right. All opposed? Motion passed. All right, the
And
next,
There are
sorry,
no public comments at this time, ma'am.
thank you. All right, the next on our agenda was Alexa was going to discuss the verification of licensure application for the remote digital clinical lab. Alexa?
Thank you guys very much. I'm going to give a quick overview of what was in place from CMS, just in case nobody had time to go through the 12-page document and look at all of that information. During the public health emergency, enforcement discretion was in place, allowing remote laboratory testing within specific parameters. So laboratory testing taking place outside of the physical address of the laboratory. When the public health emergency was terminated in May, CMS issued guidance for CLIA regulatory interpretation specific to testing outside of the physical lab. So this is the interpretation going forward outside of the public health emergency. Those determinations included, and these are, I'm only going to talk about the ones that are specific to personnel. There's a lot more in that document though. So review of digital laboratory data, digital results, or digital images may be performed remotely for all subspecialties under the primary site certificate. There's no physical testing, no slides, blocks, any equipment such as a microscope or anything like that. This is only digital. So all remote testing is the responsibility of the laboratory director and under the primary laboratory's CLIA certificate. Any enforcement actions are applicable to the primary and remote testing sites as they're considered one certificate and one laboratory, just a remote extension of the laboratory. The primary CLIA certificate must be active, cover multiple testing sites, and meet all federal and state requirements. All remote sites must be alternate testing sites under the primary laboratory certificate. So it's just reiterating that it is an extension of that primary laboratory. And all individuals performing remote review must be on the primary laboratory's CMS 209, which is the laboratory personnel report. So anybody performing remote testing is an employee and a testing personnel of the primary certificate. My request for including this in the agenda was to ensure that our interpretation for survey certification and enforcement for CLIA aligns with LSBME specific to personnel licensure. And that is that any individual performing remote digital patient interpretation, which is considered a test, as a testing personnel of a Louisiana laboratory should meet the licensure requirements of practice in Louisiana and hold a Louisiana personnel license, regardless if they're accessing the laboratory through a VPN or other secure access from outside of the state. which has aligned with CMS interpretation that they're testing under the primary certificate and meet the personnel requirements of the primary site. We haven't run into this a whole lot, but I'm sure that it's going to expand. It's kind of, the new age of technology. We're just going to run into this more and more with pathology being able to do digital, remote, toxicology, PCR. There's a lot of things that you can review data and not need to physically be there. So far, anywhere where we've seen this and we've been on surveys, we're requiring that they have a license to practice in Louisiana because they are remoting into that primary laboratory that is in the state of Louisiana. So I just wanted to get a opinion or interpretation from the board to make sure that we're interpreting that correctly on the CLIA side.
Well, Alexa, I have to be honest and tell you, this is other than reading this, I don't think you're wrong, and I think we'll be fine to do it. My question, though, is there a way to identify, and maybe we need to ask a question of either at renewal or of the initial application, are you going to be working remotely from a laboratory outside of the state? And then the next thing I need to clarify is, what is the reporting requirement? So I can clearly understand it. Let's just take a cytopathology slide. The cytopathology slide is read by a tech in Mississippi, and they report it out. Why would and that person will be licensed in Louisiana. Who else would look at it to look at the digital report?
So the report that the patient gets will say that it's performed in Louisiana because the address that's on the physical report is the primary certificate's address. If they put the house of the pathologist that was performed in Mississippi, they would need a separate CLIA certificate for practicing there. Nobody would look at the pathology report and see that it was done in Mississippi. It would be the physical location of the primary laboratory. So it may be the, pathology lab or hospital in New Orleans that has contracted with pathologists in Tennessee, California, wherever. All of those other licensure states are following suit with that. If a pathologist in Louisiana contracts to read digital images or anything like that in California, they have to have a license in California to practice, because that patient report is going to be generated from California, not the remote pathologist.
All right, I see. Now I clarify what you're saying. And no, I think just like this would be what we would call store and forward telehealth. And yes, if they're doing the reporting or the testing on citizens of Louisiana and remoting digitally the information, they would have to be licensed.
They do have an option to obtain a CLIA certificate for their house and report it as their own test, but most people don't want to do that. They don't want to separate from the primary laboratory. They want to be a remote site from an existing CLIA certificate and not necessarily their house. So our interpretation was, if you're using that primary certificate and attesting personnel from that primary laboratory, then you need to meet the requirements of the primary laboratory, regardless of where you are VPN accessing in and things like that.
Yeah, again, I think it is a store and forward technology that's addressed in the telehealth law, and it would have to be compliant with the telehealth law that says the residence of the patient is where the license needs to be.
We haven't had any pushback on it at all. It's more just figuring out where that interpretation is going to fall with licensure in individual states. The ones we've come across, they've all been very receptive to getting license and that interpretation. It was just on the initial front, figuring out who needs license for what when it came to digital and remote testing.
Those questions have come, those questions have been come up. I mean, even before COVID, occasionally I've gotten questions from people who wanted to, verify and send out the reports that were in another state. And so they've always been told they have to have a Louisiana license to do that. I'll keep telling them that.
So Alexa, this is mainly the pathology reviewing of digital slides. Is that what this is referring to?
That's where it came from COVID, but it was already in place for toxicology, genetic testing, where they're just reviewing the data. They just, before COVID, they didn't have a mechanism to allow remote testing because of the enforcement discretion during COVID, which kind of gave it a trial with pathology. I guess CMS understood that there was a mechanism to protect patient information and allow that technology to expand without the need of every home that they may be interpreting it from, or every office where they're VPN from a computer to that digital information from the primary laboratory doesn't need its own certificate. Did that answer your question?
Do we have any questions, any comments, any public comments on this?
1 second and I will check. There are no public comments at this time, ma'am.
Is that all? All right, thank you, Alexa. The next item on our agenda is the rules revision and proposed changes to the law. I don't think we're able to pull up our documents.
I can scroll through the documents for anybody that wants to see. I'll share it right now. Give me a second. So this is the document. This is the current, this is the proposed rules.
That's the current, unchanged.
I think that, well, let's see, here's the track changes right here.
Okay, what we had been planning to look at today was the law, what would need to be changed in the law. Ms. Wilton, our attorney, took the recommended rule changes and marked up the law as to where our rules conflicted with current law. I really don't know. I don't know where we need to go from here. I don't know if we need to back up and start over. Dr. Van had mentioned that we were backwards on changing the rules without changing the law. There's the chance that we could make rule changes that do not affect the law, that do not conflict with the law, and then work on the law revision.
Well, given the amount of work you have put into this, I think we let the markup to the law be approved by you all, and you may not want to approve it today. You may want to have a meeting in a month and approve it. But we probably need an answer from this board that you are comfortable with the rule changes, the law changes that conform to what you want to do in the rules, particularly nomenclature and a few things about training. And then we, with your approval, we present that to the board, and the board authorizes us to go to change the law. But again, that's got to be, we would like very much for you all to approve it.
Can I speak? I'm sorry, I should raise my hand, huh?
Go ahead.
I don't know that we are qualified to determine what changes in the rules are going to require, or absolutely require changes in the law. For instance, one of the biggest things we want changed is the name of the different levels of personnel. We want the term generalist to go away. We want it to be MLS and MLT. That's just two very, simple things right there. I don't know, does that require a change in the law? We've also changed some of the descriptions of the personnel, you know, in definitions and stuff. Does that require a change in the law? We don't really know, Dr. Van.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ms. Wilton has made her recommendation as she's marked this up. And she and I were happy to go over it again, but if you all, in other words, if you want to entrust Ms. Wilton to do it and you're comfortable with that, we want to give you, it's not whether you're qualified, is are you satisfied with the changes that Ms. Wilton is proposing, okay?
Yeah.
If you're not, then we go back to the drawing board. But if you are, say, we believe Ms. Wilton has made the proper changes, and we recommend to the board that the board go to the legislature and amend the law as suggested by the document that Ms. Wilton prepared and you approved.
I don't think,
Can I ask you something?
I do not think as a committee that we are ready to make any approval for anything or any vote on it today. We need more time to, you know, nobody can even pull it up right now and touch it and look at it. And after,
I'll send it, I'll email it to y'all.
okay.
And that way everybody can, everybody can open
I
it.
thought Olivia.
Okay,
And
I'm
I
not
would-
sure because Gail.
I would like
I
to
sent it
say-
you.
You did. You sent
We
it
Three
to
days
really
ago.
need these documents.
to everybody.
To Gay.
How,
Yes,
I really need these documents sooner than, I mean, we need several days to review these. We can't get them pretty close to the meeting.
I sent them to Olivia to send to everybody. Both, the ones with the track changes and the ones with the changes accepted. I sent them yesterday. I thought they were going to be sent to everybody, put on the cloud or whatever.
They got put on the cloud, and then today when I went in to try to look in the cloud, it said I had to have a password.
no one can access the cloud anymore.
I don't know what happened, but let me ask a specific question. Patricia, if on here, you didn't mark that we have to, if we want to change the names of each of our different categories or whatever,
Changing from
the
CLS,
from
generalist to MLS.
MLS. Does that require a law change?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Okay.
document that I gave you or gave Gay with the statutory changes are what summarize what I think you would need to change in the law in order to make it match up with what I understand you would like the rules to be going forward. And we can't change the rules until that would
That's
conform
right.
with the
I
law.
understand that. But whatever I got, it doesn't, you made your changes in blue, right? What needs to be changed in the law?
These are the rules. This isn't the law.
No, I know. But the things in the rules that require changes to the law, did you put, I thought you put that in blue on this document.
Both, they're red and blue. Go back, she gives
You
her.
did the red.
No, there's a separate law document. Don't you remember we were looking at?
Okay,
that
well, then
today?
I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong thing.
document. Okay.
This is
the right document now?
That's the correct document.
I thought you asked me for that. No, I wanted to see.
There still needs to be some, like the accredited right there that's marked out. I don't think that is marked out on our rules.
No, we
Because
want
y'all gone back and forth on whether you want it to say accredited or not want it to say accredited. Well, I put it in, I take it out, I take it out, I put it in.
I mean, what I think we really wanted was a nationally accredited school or training program. And if you recall, we tried to pass that law, and the lobbyists for one of the licensing licensing agencies got the legislature to extend that for 2 years. So it's the 2 years is basically up if we go in 2024 and we can put nationally accredited school in that spot. If that's,
It's not a school, it's a certifying agency. It's not the school, it's the agency that
Okay.
certifies.
all right. So then,
different part.
all right, that's a different part. So then you don't, are you satisfied with just just any accredited school?
We don't look at schools. We're talking about the agencies that issue, that certify, that test the
Okay.
individuals.
We're talking, no, but.
So then the school doesn't have to be accredited then.
A NACLS accredited school or school accredited by the,
We
by
don't-
SACS.
No, we don't, we've never put that in there, that you have to be a graduate of an accredited school. That's never been a qualification,
That's just defining the school.
can't-
oh, defining a
It's
school?
defining the school.
Okay,
So tell us what you want for the definition of approved school or training program.
I have a hard time with reviewing this document the day before our meeting and expecting conversations that are meaningful.
Well, let me.
No, it's not.
We can send everybody a copy of this document.
Just to be fair, it's not the first time this document has been circulated, but
It's the first time I have seen it, and it's the first
It's the
time.
first time I have seen it also.
But
It
what I'm,
never came to committee.
let's,
Thank
let me again say to you, this is an attorney work product for the client, which is the board and the advisory committee. We are happy to send it to you, but it is not to be shared with anyone. Then we come back in a public meeting and discuss it.
We understand that because that's what we've been charged with, Dr. V, and that's not a problem, but
Okay,
Keep
when you want to
this
meet
to-
again?
I think Patricia, Gay, Patricia's talking about that work product she sent a month ago or something.
I didn't get it.
I think you sent it to me.
No, this is what I sent to you last week.
right, but this is the updated version. There was an original version from some months ago that was circulated and it had this same thing. The stuff in blue is what changed after you all discussed it the first time.
I don't know. I'm
I-
very confused.
I
Okay, this is my suggestion. I think we need to send out the latest version of the work product from our attorney, Patricia Wilton, to everybody and set up another meeting in a month. Everybody has a month to look at it. And then we make our decisions. We need to get this done.
so the work product from Patricia or the changes to the law that she deems would be necessary to, have the rules be effective or go into place. But so there would be 3 documents that maybe you want to see. The work product of Patricia, the rules with all the track changes accepted, and then maybe you want to see the rules, original rules with the track changes. So you can see what we did, what we started from, what we ended up with, and what Patricia's recommendations or what she sees needs to be changed in the law. Or do y'all not want the track changes, with the ones with all the red in it? Do you just want the ones with all of the changes accepted? What do y'all want?
Well, just to be clear, I don't know, we've accepted the track changes already in
We
approved
voted
those.
on it.
Yeah, y'all voted on it for the rule change. So that really has been pretty much fixed. And we're now at the process of going to change the law.
Right. Definitely.
I thought we said that once it got all good and cleaned up, we were going to review it and vote it as being exactly like we wanted it.
We can do that, but I'm asking.
We
you,
did.
I thought we did, but we can do it again, but I guess you'd have to go back and look at the minutes. But what I'm saying is, do you even want to look at that original document with all the red in it? Or do you just want to review what we've said were the changes we wanted with all those changes accepted? You want both?
Send both. People can look at what they want to.
I actually did send them to you, Gay.
Yeah,
So you could forward them to everybody along with Patricia's work product.
okay,
If everybody didn't get to see that.
I'll do that.
Okay. So,
And so 4 weeks, pick another date for a
Pick a
meeting.
date, yes.
And are we saying Patricia's work product has the link to what we would need to change in the law? Because I think that's the point that we're at,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
that's what
Yeah,
what
it's in the document.
Patricia has sent us, is what she deems the changes would need to be made to the law. But I'm not, did you? So you put in there about changing the names the way we want them, that would have to go into the law?
She did.
Yeah, okay. Does he have, okay, there it is. Yes, okay.
I think that's what we need to do at this point because, so let's pick a date and everybody do that. You'll have a month to do it. Do we have a day of the week that works better for everybody? They're gonna have to be at 3 o'clock, just like this one, because of we have to let the public come if they want to.
Thursdays are good for me.
Thursdays are good for me. I cannot do it on Thursday, the 12th.
Okay.
The 12th of October.
How about the 19th of October? How does that work for everybody? I might be out of town.
Can I make a
That's good with-
suggestion,
Do it
please?
earlier?
Can
Yes,
we do it? Can we do it?
Let me
That
say,
would be 2 weeks, would be the 5th
What about in here?
October.
Why can't we do it in here?
on the 12th.
Or the 10th? One day
They
during
want
that
to
week?
do it Thursday.
Dr. Van,
What
were you
about-
saying? Dr. Van had a comment.
okay, in order to expedite this, the sooner you approve it, the sooner it goes to the board for their decision. We would normally close the agenda for the October meeting, correct me, Miss Jacinta, on the 16th, correct? Miss Jacinta, are you with me?
What about October 12th?
I am. I'm trying to look at your schedule. What about the 16th?
The
Isn't that what-
16th he's saying would be the agenda deadline, but really it's the 9th because the meeting is on the
9th.
Oh,
23rd.
I'm sorry, okay, so the meeting's the 23rd, so it would be the 9th.
Fifth.
Yes.
So it's gonna be kind of tough if you meet the 12th and expect. it to-
How about October the 5th? That gives everybody 2 weeks.
We'll be at the Lamico meeting.
Yeah, I can't make that. What about the 10th?
Is
The
that
Tuesday.
soon enough to make the agenda?
Yes, we can make it work on the 10th.
Okay.
Okay, October the 10th.
I will be unable to meet. I'll be out of the country.
I'll get Olivia to send out the Zoom invite.
Well, if you are going to be gone, if you want to look over the document and make any notes and send them to us, that would be helpful.
I can do that.
Okay, great.
And if you have access to the internet, you can join the meeting from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Not while you're on
No.
vacation.
Again,
So the same time, 3 o'clock on the 10th? On the
3
3
o'clock.
9th?
o'clock on the 10th, right, Dr. Van?
3 o'clock on the 10th.
I can't attend on the 10th either, but maybe we'll have a quorum.
Well, the same thing, Jessica, maybe if you could review the documents and give us any of your comments or suggestions.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
I know that during our rules revision and this changes to the law reflects us eliminating the temporary license. And my experience this year as a manager is we need to keep.
Y'all put it back. That's something another thing y'all reverse course on.
Good,
You put it back.
good. We need it.
Is Dr. Van there to comment on that?
Well, if we don't have a criminal background check, I guarantee I can't give a temporary permit.
That sounds good. The list of committee members that Olivia sent out, is that our active list?
Yes, the only thing is I've been trying to contact the lab assistant. I thought she was her term expired. I asked for a replacement. I think it goes through the hospital association, but they get the nomination from AAB. And they sent somebody, but that person was not a licensed lab assistant, so that didn't work. And I think they might have sent two. We still don't have anybody. So as far as I think the governor's office is concerned, Ashley Ware is still on the committee, but I have not gotten any responses from her.
Okay.
So everybody else on there is, yes, those are all members of the committee on that distribution list.
All right, I will use that list to attach these documents.
Great.
All righty.
Go ahead and send them to Ashley Ware. Do you have her email address?
I can find it.
Yeah. I'll try to send it to you. I think it's Wildcat
Ashley.
Ash at yahoo.com is what I'm pretty sure it is.
All righty, that concludes everything that's on our agenda. So everybody's made a note that our next meeting will be at 3 p.m. on October 10th.
We have some executive session business that has to be attended to.
Yes, sir. All righty, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Just before you go into executive session, you have no public comment at this time.
Okay.
A motion, it's Tabitha.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Angela? All those in favor of going into executive session at this time may vote by yes or no. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Who was that? Was that an opposition?
I think it was background noise.
Okay. All right, motion carries. We will now go into executive session.
Okay, everyone that's on a cell phone won't be able to move over.
Do we get an email to move to another site like before, or?
You will simply get a little flag or it'll be moved automatically. It
Okay.
says you don't get a flag, moved automatically. You
Hey, Gabe, do we have anything after the administrative or executive session, whatever?
No, we just come back and give our decision on the disciplinary action. Do you? I don't think there's anything after that.
Perfect.
We only have 7. Is that a quorum? We don't have everybody yet.
It hasn't moved you over yet. Just give me a second. For
Oh,
some reason, y'all's is
Gotcha.
not allowing you to join.
Some people are in the room, Jacinta, and some people aren't.
Yeah, it's not letting everybody else join. Let me try this again.
Okay. Tracy, can you help her?
I am not even a co-host on here.
Well, let's see, maybe I can do that for you. Hold on a minute.
If you make her the co-host, it won't allow me to put them in the room.
No, yeah, you
All right.
gotta
Patsy's
let her
saying
do it.
she's in a breakout room and it's about to close in 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what got
That's
messaged.
what we're doing.
We're gonna bring everybody back in and try and go out.
Ah, okay, got you.
Yeah, it wasn't letting several people transition over.
You said, I think you have to leave one person out so you can leave me out.
We have a quorum.
No, but we're not in the room for the executive session yet.
Oh, okay. We're gonna lose Jessica because she's on the phone. And I think down.
Did you get a blue button to move?
No,
Tabitha.
I don't think Tabitha is gonna be able to go because she's on the phone.
We still missing some folks?
You got your quorum here.
Okay, so we're out of executive session where investigations were discussed. The first was file number 2022-770. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding that case?
I'd like to make a motion to close the investigative case for 2022-770. I'd also like to flag the license and report to NPDB.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Dr. Bridges?
Was that Larry or Richard?
Was
Larry.
It was Larry.
Okay.
All right, so motion by Jessica, second by Larry. All those in favor of the motion regarding file number 2022-770, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. The next case was file number 2023-373. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding this case?
I move that she be sent, this person be sent a letter of concern for unprofessional conduct. And that's it.
Okay, do I have a second for Angela?
I second.
It's Jessica. All right, all those in favor of this motion and second for file number 2023-373, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our agenda and our topics. Our next meeting has been set as a Zoom meeting for October 10th at 3 p.m. where we will review the rule revisions and proposed changes to the law. I have sent everyone an email already, like 5 minutes ago, to that. If y'all do not get it, please email me back. Give me a call, let me know.
And Madam Chairman, you still have no public comment.
Thank you. If there's no further comment or discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Jessica.
I second Yolanda.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning today's meeting, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Thank you all so much for your time.
And I want to thank you on behalf of the agency for all the work you put in today, and thank you so much.
All righty, see y'all next month.